I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share it with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars.
NXT was pretty solid for the most part. This was the go-home show to Stand and Deliver, NXT's version of WrestleMania. And yes, we will go over the predictions for Stand and Deliver. NXT is still in a rebuilding stage, just like TNA. I know people think it's funny that NXT is going to be doing their biggest show of the year on YouTube. It is what it is. Nothing wrong with it. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to come up with some type of deal that they can get where they can package both NXT, Evolve, and probably AAA all into one package deal. And, they'll be on some streaming service in due time, as long as it's not Netflix. But they'll find something. They'll find their way. They'll find their way. I have total faith in Shawn Michaels. I really do. All right, let's go ahead and get into the show. Let's go ahead and get into NXT from March the 31st, 2026. So we kick the show off with the first match of the night. Mike Santana and OTM, they defeat Dark State. Match was pretty okay. Mike Santana got a really good reaction. It's New York, so it's his hometown, so why wouldn't he get a reaction, a good reaction? Again, TNA needs to realize you gotta know that Mike Santana is probably going to end up joining NXT at some point. So they need to kind of, look and see and figure out if they can get a replacement for Mike Santana, because I do see him and Leon Slater both jumping ship and going to NXT. I really do. Joe Hendry's done it. Jordan Grace has done it. I mean, come on. So hopefully it works out. But Mike Santana, in my opinion, would be great in NXT. I really do think he would be great in NXT. I really do. I think he would be a top guy there. Like day one, he would be a top guy. Day one, he'd be shot up to the main event scene. I thought about it while watching this match. I'm gonna give OTM a second chance. I've been kind of hard on him and stuff, but I'm gonna give them a second chance. I'm gonna give them a second chance. The crowd likes him for whatever reason. They like them, so hopefully they can do something with them, because OTM's been around for about a good 3 years? About 3 years, and they've had so many different reiterations of them, and I don't know why. Like they've given them so many stop and start pushes that it's not good. But I'm gonna give them a second shot. All right, moving on from that, this leads us into Vic Joseph. He has a sit-down interview with Miles Bourne. Miles Bourne just basically says that he's a champion now, and that Ethan Page pulled all this out of him and everything. He also said that Ethan Page showed him in order to win, sometimes you have to do what others aren't willing to do, which is correct, which is true. So Miles Bourne says that last year he wasn't a part of Stand and Deliver. He took it personally. He said this year he's not a part of it. He's walking in as North American champion, and as hard as it was to become champion, it's going to be even harder to stay champion. He plans on leaving Stand and Deliver the same way he walked in. He's going to walk in. So Miles Bourne puts over Johnny Gargano, talking about how he's a 3-time NXT North American champion. And he puts over how he respects Johnny Gargano. And it doesn't really matter where his head's at the end of the day. He's facing a SmackDown superstar. And he wants to, and he hopes that Johnny Wrestling shows up. So Johnny Gargano shows up. He puts himself over. He said that this used to be called TakeOver. Now it's called Stand and Deliver. He's going to take Miles Bourne into deep waters. He said if he wins, he's going to be the man. He's going to go back to SmackDown and be a champion where he knows he needs to be, where he rightfully belongs. He said if you lose, he doesn't really know what happens. He said one thing that he does know, that in St. Louis, he's going to take Miles Borne into deeper waters and show him what it means to be a champion here on this brand, because for the first time in 2 months, he's not going to lay down and die. He'll stand and deliver like only Johnny Gargano can, because I have to more than you know. Okay, really good little promo here. I like this. This is interesting. All right, moving on. Ren Sinclair's backstage to hype up Kendal Grey. All right, that's fine. Moving on, this leads us into Los Americanos. They defeated Birthright. Okay, that's fine. I think Stacks and Connors were involved in this. Uriah Connors, the little bro of David Finlay, he was involved. Alexis King came out to get involved as well, but I wasn't even really paying attention to this match, honestly, guys. I just wasn't paying attention with this. So basically, Los Americanos, they get the win, basically. They win via the running headbutt. Post-match, they get into a quick stand-up with the Vanity Project. Okay, that's fine there. All right. Moving on, Dion Lennox is pissed off. He's throwing a massive tantrum. He's irate in the backstage area. He didn't know what's happening to Dark State. Dark says they've gotten so close to everything that they've wanted. They're the dangers in NXT, not the other way around. Shaquan Sugars reminds Dion Lennox that when Dark State strikes, ain't nobody safe. Dion Lennox says he's going to make sure that at Stand and Deliver. Okay, that's fine. Who really cares? Moving on. Jaida Parker versus Kelani Jordan. This match was fun. I really enjoyed this match. Jaida Parker getting the win was great. She wins via the Deja Vu. So I'm guessing she's not using the Hypnotic as her finisher anymore, which is fine. That makes sense. Really good stuff here. This is not over by a long shot, and it was apparent because later on in the show, spoiler alert, Jaida Parker got attacked by Kelani Jordan. So this is not over. This should be added to the Stand and Deliver card. We don't know if it's going to be added or not. If not, it'll probably, take place post Stand and Deliver. Okay, that's fine there. Moving on. The Vanity Project, they're running into Mariah May in the backstage area. They are complimenting, they're flirting with Mariah May, which is funny. But with how Tatum Paxley acted last week, they offered to have Mariah May's back just in case anything happens. Mariah says that she'll be fine because when you're the glamour, obsession is just another accessory. Last week, Tatum caught Mariah by surprise, but tonight she's ready for anything. Okay, I like that. That's fine. Moving on, this leads us into the Fatal 4-Way contract for the NXT Championship. So Robert Stone introduces everybody and everything else. Joe Hendry basically just wanted to know when are Ethan Page and Ricky Starks, when are they going to come to blows. He said that he's passionate about being champion and everything else, and he promises to deliver at Stand and Deliver. So Ricky Saints says that Joe Hendry never should have been champion at all. He said that title should have been given back to him. That way you wouldn't be climbing up ladders and stealing the thing from him. So here's what he's going to do. On Saturday at Stand and Deliver, he's going to make everything right in this world for once when he becomes a 2-time NXT champion. So Ethan Page says that he's wasted his time focusing on being the greatest North American champion. He feels like he was selling himself short, but his good friend Ricky reminded him his true value, and the truth is, ain't anyone better than me in the entirety of the WWE, and he didn't want to be the greatest North American. He deserves global recognition. He wants to become a 2-time NXT champion. So Tony D'Angelo just says enough. He calls Ethan Page, Joe Hendry, and Ricky Saints all outsiders. He says it's nothing personal to do with Joe Hendry. He actually likes him. he says that he's NXT born and bred, NXT's in his blood, and he doesn't care who you are and where you come from and what you've done. Because on Saturday at Stand and Deliver, he's going to run all three of them over like a damn freight train. So then a brawl ensues between all four guys. So Ethan Page puts Joe Hendry through the table with the Ego's Edge, and Tony Angelo choke slams Ricky Saints. And then there's a little pull apart brawl. Okay, that's fine. This makes sense. I like this. This is pretty okay. Moving on, this leads us into Jasper Troy versus Keanu Carver. Keanu Carver wins. Josh Briggs is a special guest referee. Booker T was incredibly biased in this match, basically, which was kind of funny, hilarious. Nah, man, I'm not biased, Big. I love me some Booker T. Booker T is great. He's great. So basically, match was okay. So Keanu Carver hits the pounce, and then he hits the running power slam for the 1-2-3. So post-match, Keanu Carver wanted Briggs to raise his hand. Briggs didn't. He dropped him with a big lariat. So I thought that maybe Briggs was going to get involved and maybe have a triple threat match like they did. I think that was 2 years ago with Dijak, Obafemi, and Josh Briggs at Stand and Deliver. I thought they were going to go that route like they did 2 years ago, but they're not. So it is what it is. And Jasper Troy losing makes perfect sense. So it is what it is. So that's fine. This match didn't last long either. It was maybe about 5 minutes at best, which is good. Moving on. Sean Legacy is talking to Hangin' Tank and Ilya LaFleur and Eli Knight in the locker room. Sean Legacy says that he's still in recovery, but he should be back in action very soon. Hank and Tank are dejected about losing to the Verb Fright in the NXT Tag Team Tournament, but they'll get back on their feet. So, Ilya LaFleur says that he's got a serious shoulder injury. He's going to be out for 6 months. Damn. Because of that, he's going to have to relinquish the Speed Championship. LaFleur had a conversation with Robert Stone. There's going to be a tournament next week to crown a new champion, and Eli Knight's going to be participating in it. That's cool there. Hopefully he wins the whole thing, because I'm a fan of Eli Knight. So Ren Sinclair comes in to check on Ilya LaFleur. Charlotte Hill barges in. He's mega giddy about what he did to the Birthright. Tank says that he appreciates Charlotte's enthusiasm, but they're all on the outside looking in when it comes to Stand and Deliver. And now it's not the right time. Charlotte knows that he's not on Stand and Deliver, but he's got an idea. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. Who gives a damn? Moving on, this leads us into Tatum Paxley and Mariah May. So Tatum Paxley comes out, puts herself over. She said she gave herself an ultimatum. She wants Mariah May to bring the title to her. And she wants her to come out and play. So Mariah May shows up. She doesn't understand what Tatum's problem is with her. She said that she never lost the title in the first place, which is true. And now that it's in her hands, she can't just give it back. She can't. So they continue to kind of bicker back and forth. Tatum says that you have my championship, and you have the opportunity that you've been waiting in the palm of your hands. So she challenges her to a match at Stand and Deliver. And she wants her title back, and if she doesn't get it, she's going to do some bad things to Mariah May. She says that you created a sense of belonging, and she understands it, but that feeling is very deep within her, because that feeling caused her to do some unbelievable harm. It's taken my mind to places that I never thought existed. So Mariah May accepts her challenge, and then Mariah May put herself over. some more. So Tatum wasn't dealing with the crap anymore. She said she's tired of the circus level crap. She understands that there's a side of Mariah May that comes out when you get really angry, but there's a worse side to her. I can be the goth to your glamour. I can be the fire to your hell. I'll even let you decide your fate on Saturday, but tonight you're going to give me back what belongs to me. So they have a tug of war over the title. Tatum attacks Mariah May with a forearm, and she hits a awesome spinning wheel kick, which was great. And then Mariah May gets the title, and then she exits the ring. Okay, that's fine. I like this. Really good shit here. Moving on, this leads us into Sarah Schreiber and Robert Stone. So she said that this is Robert Stone's first Stand and Deliver as general manager of NXT. I mean, as the new GM. Robert Stone says the card's absolutely stacked, but somebody came up to him and gave him a great idea. So he's gonna make a couple of matches on the show. A 10-person tag. It's gonna be Bret Hart and Charlotte Hill, Hank Tank and Vince Sinclair. So Keanu Carver shows up. He wants a piece of Josh Briggs right now. Robert Stone tells Keanu Carver that he'll be battling Josh Briggs and Jasper Troy in a triple threat next week. Okay, that's fine. We move on from that. We hear a bunch of loud commotion. Kelani Jordan's beating the shit out of Jaida Parker with trash can lids and stuff. Okay, that's fine. Moving on. This leads us into Jacy Jayne. She said that she's glad to be out of Soruka and Zarya's mess. Everybody always lets her championship get in the way of their friendship. Luckily for Jacy, Fatal Influence is in a good place. So Izzy Dame shows up. She's standing behind Fatal Influence. Izzy says that Jacy Jayne has been on top for far too long and starting to act dumb now. She knows why everybody wants what she has, and she's not talking about Fallon Henley or Laney Reed. So that's fine. We all know where this is going anyway. Again, I don't think that Jacy Jayne is going to be in NXT too much longer anyway. So there's that. All right, moving on. Main event of the evening: Lola Vice versus Kendal Grey. The winner of that will challenge Jacy Jayne at Stand and Deliver for the NXT Women's Championship. It was a double win, basically. So towards the end of the match, Lola Vice hit the guillotine choke, and Kendal Grey was able to get out of it. She ended up hitting a Northern Light suplex. Referee counted 1, 2, 3, but she tapped. Referee didn't see it, and so an argument ensued between both officials. Shawn Michaels came out and did nothing, which was hilarious as fuck. I thought that was fucking hilarious. It is what it is. So it's a bunch of bickering. The match was solid because I'm a fan of both Lola Vice and Kendal Grey. This was a really, really good match here. Lola Vice got in a bunch of kicks and power moves, German suplexes and stuff like that. Cross arm breaker. Kendal did her kicks and flips and stuff. So this match was great. Although us not getting a finish is not good, but I think they're going to end up doing a triple threat match anyway at Stand and Deliver. Shawn Michaels will probably come out during the show and announce that it's going to be a triple threat match more than likely. I don't know why he didn't do it here at the Go Home show, but it is what it is. But NXT was fine for the most part. All right, let's go ahead and get into Stand and Deliver predictions. So Stand and Deliver takes place in St. Louis, Missouri. The venue is going to be the factory at the district. It doesn't say how many people it can hold. I would imagine they probably booked the venue for maybe about 3,000, maybe 4,000 people at best. So that's fine. And it should be a sellout. It should be. We've got 7 matches on the card. All right. Miles Bourne versus Johnny Gargano for the NXT North American Championship. I'm going to go with Johnny Gargano winning. I think that would make the most sense. Miles Bourne has had his time in the sun, and I think it will be fine. to have Johnny flip back between between SmackDown and NXT. I think that would be fun, and I kind of want Johnny Gargano to win. I do. I think, you could have fun with that. That could give guys on the main roster on SmackDown who aren't doing anything, like Apollo Crews and guys like that, who aren't really doing much of anything, to go after the NXT North American Championship. I think that'd be fun, to get some more main roster guys on the show for NXT. Again, NXT is in a rebuilding stage and needs all the help it can get. All right, moving on from that. The 10-person mixed tag. I don't really care who wins this. I'm going to go with Birthright winning the match. Who cares? Moving on, the Vanity Project versus Los Americanos, Bravo, and Ravo for the NXT Tag Team Championships. The Vanity Project, they just got those titles. Moving on from that, JC Jane versus Kendal Grey versus Lola Vice triple threat for the NXT Women's Championship. Although it's not been announced, but that's how where this whole shit is going. I'm going to go with Kendal Grey winning. I think that would make the most sense. You could kind of turn Lola heel, and then JC Jane just leaves NXT. It's time. JC Jane's been in NXT for about 5 years. 5 years. She's been in NXT since 2021. It's time for her to go to the main roster. It's kind of the same thing with Fallon Henley. You might as well just go ahead and break them up without actually breaking them up. I think that'll make the most sense, if we're being honest. Moving on. Sol Ruka versus Zarya. I'm going to go with Zarya winning this. I think Sol Ruka is going to get caught up as well. So, she'll probably be on the SmackDown or Raw after Mania, more than likely. So, there's that. Moving on. Mariah May versus Tatum Paxley for the NXT North American Women's Championship. I'm going to go with Mariah May winning this. I love Tatum Paxley. She's great, but it's time for her to get caught up and be on the main roster as well. Main event of the evening, Fatal 4-Way, Joe Hendry versus Ricky Saints versus Ethan Page versus Tony D'Angelo. Fatal 4-Way for the NXT Championship. I'm going to go with Tony D'Angelo. He's been kind of a tweener for a while. I think you need to go ahead and pay that forward. Joe Hendry, he's fine, but you want NXT to be taken serious, though. I mean, he's been a great NXT champion so far, but you kind of want to go ahead and bring him up on the main roster. I get it. Danhausen's there, but you can have Joe Hendry be kind of more serious, if we're being honest. You don't need to be in that comedy gimmick. I'd put him on Raw, basically, after Mania. Get a good reaction and stuff for him. Get a feud going. You need to kind of rebuild that mid-card for Raw, really. Because you can keep Ricky, Ethan, and Tony D in NXT for a while. But you got to kind of move Joe Hendry up at some point. Because Joe Hendry doesn't need to be there, if we're being honest. But those are my predictions. I'll go over them again. Mariah May will win the NXT Women's Championship. North American Championship. Zarya will defeat Sol Ruka. Kendal Grey will defeat Lola Vice and JC Jane and become the new NXT Women's Champion. Johnny Gargano will defeat Miles Bourne and become the new NXT North American Champion. The Vanity Project, they'll retain the NXT Tag Team Championships against Los Americanos. Birthright will win the mixed tag team match. And Tony D'Angelo will win the NXT Championship in the Fatal 4-Way. But what did you guys think of NXT, and what are your predictions for Stand and Deliver? Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.